Here with Captain Canada himself, Zach. Tell me what the experience was like now that it's all over.
Absolutely crazy. I could not put any other words to it. It was one of the most dynamic things I've ever done in my life. Mental, physically, socially exhausting. I'm bagged from being in there for 70 days, and it's nice to be done, but it's bittersweet. You grow attached to the experience. You really do.
You know, I remember when the cast bios came out, no contestant was more talked about than you, obviously with the Peter tweet. Yeah. So did you think about that when you were in the house at all, or was it just like, oh, that was so long ago, like nobody's going to remember?
No, I knew it was going to come out, but it was something that I can't control at that point. I went in the house. I just wanted to play a game and try and, earn the respect of playing a good game and then come out and deal with it on the outside, because you just got to try and do what you can on the inside and not try and worry about what's going on. So, yeah, I was very aware of the situation and just kind of wanted to deal with it once it was all done.
I feel like you and Ashley were probably the people that had the most preconceived notions about them. You know, Ashley, this hot blonde girl, she's not going to do anything. She probably did see you're the quarterback guy. You're going to win everything. Do you feel like you guys addressed those? Because I definitely feel like you did. I felt like everybody's first impressions when they saw your photos were totally off in how you guys played the game.
Yeah, that's a funny thing too, and the one thing that I always was saying throughout the season is Ashley's very underrated. She's very good at competitions, and people did not see it, and I think that worked in her benefit, because once I was gone, she beasted out, and she won those competitions, and I was very, very proud of her. For myself, yeah, I wanted to come in and play a social game before I played a physical game, which was probably surprised people. I thought I was going to come in and just competition it out, right? And I know that Big Brother is more of a social game than it is a physical game, and it really, really is. If you can align yourself with the house guests correctly, you can keep yourself safe. So that's what I tried to do early on, was rely on the social part of my game.
It looked like to me you had everything in the palm of your hand. You had the Newport Alliance, and I love the game strategy of you controlling, Bruno in the chop shop and JP controlling everything else. When did that go wrong? And I basically just want to know why it didn't work.
Yeah, well, it went wrong when I put him on the block and then I sent him home. But for the most part, we didn't keep the two sides apart. When you're working both sides, you got to make sure that you keep a divide in there. And at the one point, one side kind of lapped over to the other side, and things start to tangle. Cindy got in the house with all the sequester information, which absolutely exposed my game, because I was very responsible for those first 5 people walking out of the house, and they got in there, and I know that they rallied. Zach, we got to get this guy out, because he worked all of us to get us out. So different things with the twist and people talking, it just all kind of combined and ended up breaking it down.
The specific move to put up JP, I'm with you. He celebrated. You got to sort of throw attention off of that. But the move when you won the veto not to take him off, I was just what is this kid doing? I just couldn't understand it. So I sort of want to understand the rationale. You have the veto. Why not use it on JP?
Yeah, and the thing is I should have used it on him and put someone up. But the thing that we talked about was, we had the house good. We're going to be able to get the votes the right way. If I put up one person, it would have showed that I was down with that side. We had the one side on him and me on the other side of the chop shop, and if I did put one person up, it would have broke me down with 3 or 4 different relationships in the house. If I would have put Brittany up, it would have broke me down with Sarah, Brittany, Cindy. So I would have had 4 or 5 bridges burnt. So if I thought we could get fancy, dance the fine line, and get out of it clean, we're gonna be okay. Obviously, it burned us and it kills me, but just trying to get a little bit too fancy with the game, and that's what happens to Big Brother.
Tell me a little bit more about the jury experience. When you got in there, did JP try to strangle you?
No, it was really good in the jury. Jury is very interesting, because the game talk continues, and there was a lot of talk in the jury this year. And me and JP, we talked out, had a good night together, and he was still rooting for me, as tough as it was for him. And it was a tough thing for both of us to go through, but we worked through it, and we're best buddies.
What about when Brittany came in? Did she sort of say to you, Zach, you got to vote for my girl, or did she not pressure you at all?
Yeah, Brittany came in. Me and Brittany are actually very, very good friends, and it was funny because we were on different sides of the house for the whole season, right? And but we're very good friends, and she knew that I was pulling for Ashley and she was pulling for Sarah, but we both went into the vote with an open mind, and to let them persuade us, and let's vote for the best game player. So no, we talked about it, and it was all good.
Did Godfrey have any chance of getting your vote? Because I was torn about this. On the one hand, I know you're a super fan, and I wanted to see if you could sort of see what he was doing, playing the middle, although you could sort of call it floating. On the other side, I mean, he cut that crazy blood on my hand speech, so I couldn't tell if you would vote for him. Would you have in any scenario?
Yeah, you know what? If Godfrey had got himself there and taken Ashley, it would have been interesting to see how the vote went down. But I don't know. I do really like Godfrey's game, and I'm hearing more about how his game was, and I wish I would have been able to be a little bit more exposed to his game, because his game was so under wraps and so underrated, and from what I knew, it was so hard to see with the other two girls. I thought that Sarah played a phenomenal game socially, and their games were just so much more in our face, and what we knew, and his was a little bit more the dark horse of the game, and yeah, it kills me to think that I didn't be able to, take his whole game in.
But that's not, yeah, I mean, that's not really your fault. I mean, we got to see what he was doing, but I imagine in the house, it just looks like he's lying there, not winning anything, like basically being protected by Brittany. That's kind of like what you saw, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is you think you're trying to take in what you can see. You think that you're playing with somebody, but they're playing their own games, and I wish that his speech and he would have got a couple more questions, or a little bit more of a chance to really show everybody, hey, I'm a psych major, I did this. I really wish that he would have been able to portray his game a little bit better, but you only get like 2 minutes to tell the jury, right, which is a crazy thing. But the jury definitely didn't see his game as well as we could have possibly. It was tough.
Did the jury ever talk about Sarah getting there because of that twist where Ashley's nominations were replaced? Did that ever come up? Because I feel like in the way that they voted, didn't matter to any of them.
Yeah, the twist thing is hard for us. We try and just roll with the punches and, not, beat ourselves up or let it sway our votes too much. But it did come up. There was a lot of talk in jury about the twists, why people got there, how they've done things. And, yeah, that definitely came up. It was on people's minds. But I would say that it was more of a pro-Sarah jury just talking about her social game. I think everybody felt like they had worked with her at some point. I think that kind of benefited her game, working with her. But she used Brittany to do a lot of dirty work in the game too, which was impressive.
I was a Zach fan the entire season. Peter and I would talk every single week, and I was like, I like this guy. This guy knows how to play. It was until you got into this like showmance with Ashley, who I loved, and then I became all jealous, and I'm like, I can't root for this guy anymore. So tell me, how did you win Ashley's heart and basically break mine when it happened?
Ashley is a very, very sweet girl, and I think we just kind of had that natural connection. And as much as I was like, I gotta stay out of a showmance, this host is so concentrated, and it just pulled me in. And something about that innocent girl, that innocent charm she's got, really pulled me in. But she's got a feisty side to her, and I like that too. I really do.
And finally, my favorite moment of the season is during the triple eviction. Bruno wins the veto, and from nowhere, I'm talking like from left field, I didn't see it coming, puts it around your neck. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. My respect level for Bruno's game just like shot up like this, because I was like, this guy has guts. I thought he was sliding by, but that was an in-your-face move. I don't care what Sarah and Brittany are going to do. I'm going to do what's best for my game. What was that feeling like when he put it around your neck?
Absolutely amazing. You know what? I thought I was walking out the door. Once I didn't get that last thing on there, I thought I was over and done with, and Bruno threw it around my neck, and I was just blown away. Second life in the game, day 49. I'm moving forward, and I'm looking pretty good, especially when Pilar stays in the game, which was amazing. So, yeah, crazy, and the littlest things made that happen. Bruno and I had a quick conversation in the HOH room the night before that, and I knew that Bobby was leaving. I knew that Bruno was a loyal guy to his boys, and I said, Bruno, I want to work on something on the side. I just tried to pull him in. It was like a 10-minute conversation, and he's told me after the game now that little conversation, was the reason he used the veto. I mean, it just makes you think that Big Brother is a game of the finest details. It really is.
And finally, what's next for you? And am I going to get a wedding invite to this like Zashley wedding?
Absolutely, you will if it's somewhere down the line.
Yeah, but if they say, does anybody object? I'm standing up.
Yeah, I'll let it happen.
Okay.
No, just summer. Going back to Regina, Saskatchewan, hanging out with my boys, and just taking what comes in front of me. I don't really know yet.
Amazing. Zach, thank you so much.
Right on. Thanks a lot.